Hello, everyone. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Welcome into Southeastern 14, where football never stops all year round. We cover college football, especially SEC college football for you. And really, it is the premier league in all the country now, even with the national title going to Michigan, things like that. It had a year off, things like that for the SEC. Okay, we get it. But guess what? The SEC will be back, and we'll be back with a vengeance. And if the new Bet Online Heisman odds that have come out for the 2024 season aren't an indication of that, I don't know what is. People expecting big things out of quarterbacks in the SEC, quarterbacks with experience and quarterbacks that have a lot of weapons around them that we will get to here in just a second. Make sure go ahead and hit that like button if you don't mind. That helps out with analytics. Subscribe, turn on notifications. That's greatly appreciated. And we do want to mention to you, hey, we're presented by our friends who bring these Heisman odds, Bet Online. So if you want futures bets like this, like the Heisman odds, if you want to bet on these NFL championship games and the Super Bowl that are coming up here, also the NBA is in full swing, the NHL, UFC fights, Premier League soccer, everything you could possibly think of. As long as it is a sport and it has odds, it will be on there on betonline.ag, guys. And we have a promo code that you can take advantage of. If you go to betonline.ag and use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, all caps BLEAV, you can get 50% off on your welcome bonus. Your first deposit, you'll get a 50% welcome bonus. So, guys, make sure you head on over to the place where you can always have desktop and mobile access to all the latest sports wagering info, odds, news, trends, predictions. That is Bet Online. Bet Online, where the game starts. And, guys, where we have to start is where the Heisman Trophy odds for 2024 from Bet Online start, and that is with Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. He is the number one in the rankings at plus 700, so he's 7-1 favorite right now to win the 2024 Heisman Trophy. And it's no secret as to why. He has 4 offensive linemen coming back that are starters or have been starters at one point in their career, so a ton of experience. Jared Wilson will be filling in for Cedric Von Pron at center. He's played a lot in his career, but that will give him a big experienced offensive line. And then you look at the positions around him. Yes, losing Brock Bowers, but it doesn't hurt when you have freshmen that were highly sought after, that played a little bit towards the end of the year, and Lawson Lucky and Pierce Sperlin, and also Oscar Delp, who has proven that he's one of the better tight ends in all the country when Brock Bowers had his absence. So Oscar Delp will be a big target out wide at receiver for him. He has experienced guys like Dylan Bell, like Ra Thomas, like Dominic Lovett, who all came. Those guys, Dominic Lovett and Ra Thomas, transferred into Georgia and kind of got their feet wet in the system in year one. They'll take much bigger roles in year two under there with Carson Beck and Mike Bobo in that system. Then you're talking about guys coming in like Colby Young, like London Humphreys. So there's no shortage of weapons. Plus, the run game ought to get a huge boost with Trevor Etienne, the Florida running back, coming in on top of the running backs that Georgia had there, like Roderick Robinson, Branson Robinson, probably coming back from injury, Andrew Paul, several guys, and then 3 really talented freshmen coming in that can make an impact as well. So Georgia is loaded with weapons. That is why Carson Beck is number 1 in the rankings. And, guys, he's quite simply just played rock steady throughout his first year as a starter, throwing for nearly 4,000 yards on the season. Carson Beck is a guy who is only going to get better from year 1 to year 2 as a starter, and I think he has an opportunity to make himself a lot of money, not only in the NIL space, guys, but when it comes to draft time in 2025. So Carson Beck is your number 1 Heisman Trophy odds leader right now at Bet Online at plus 700. The number 2 in the rankings, in the odds, guys, is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was huge at several points during the season. Absolutely had a terrific night in Tuscaloosa in Texas. Win over Alabama at Alabama this past year. Helped this team to a playoff run. Even you could see his value when he got hurt last year, and Malik Murphy had to step in and things like that. Didn't perform quite as well. Quinn Ewers has really turned into from a high school phenom that it was kind of a lightning rod attention, maybe was a little bit overweight, didn't study as hard, relied on talent, just pure talent, things like that, and now has turned into a true leader for that Texas team, and really he's handled a lot with a lot of maturity. Yes, he's going to have weapons coming in like Matthew Golden from Houston, like Silas Bolden from Oregon State, and like Isaiah Bond from Texas. He's going to have to kind of help meld all those guys together and make sure they are, assimilated into Texas's system. But Sark will have no problem scheming those guys open for Quinn Ewers. The real thing is Quinn Ewers is going to have to continue just to show that maturity that he has there. Also, Amari Niblack coming in from Alabama as well. I'd have to mention that, just a freak of the tight end. But Quinn Ewers is going to have to continue to show that maturity, because there's no doubting his talent. He is extremely talented. He can play. He can make all the throws. He's smart. He's able to get Sark's offense in and out of bad plays into the right plays, things of that nature. What he's going to have to deal with is that anytime he doesn't do something to perfection, and anytime there's some struggles, and God forbid Texas lose a game at some point early on in the season, there's going to be the clamorings for Arch Manning. I think one of the more iconic scenes I saw during the college football playoff was the fact that Quinn Ewers was sitting there at a lectern alone and looking at a gaggle of reporters about 30, 40 yards away from him, who were interviewing Arch Manning, his backup quarterback, the son of, the legendary Manning family, Cooper Manning's son. Okay, the nephews of Peyton and Eli, the grandson of Archie. I mean, it's a lot of weight that comes with that, being a Manning, a quarterback in the Manning family, and he's already getting the media attention like that, even with just being the backup, the number 2. So as long as Quinn Ewers can, not worry about that, and I'll let that impact his ego, because there's going to be questions from the media. There's going to be badgering all year long on that. I think he'll handle it well. Of course, he has those weapons. Like I said, Isaiah Bond was just a surgeon underneath for Alabama, and also made that big 4th and 31 play for him in the Iron Bowl. He single-handedly helped Alabama beat Georgia on those last couple of drives. So that is a big weapon. And then Golden and Bolden, getting those guys from Houston and from Oregon State, respectively, gives Ewers true weapons on the outside that he can really, really rely on. He's just got to get that timing down with them, because all these transfer guys coming in, but they're already there and working, and that's going to be good for Texas going forward. And like I said, Amari Niblack, just absolute freak. So there will be no shortage of weapons there at Texas either, and Quinn Ewers is experienced in that system. I think that's the one advantage that Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers have, is continuity in their system, guys. You have Carson Beck still with Mike Bobo. They're going to get another year, and now Quinn Ewers is well versed in Sark's offense. So I think that's a tremendous plus for both of them. He's plus 800, so just right behind Carson Beck at those 7-1 odds. Quinn Ewers 8-1. Third in the rankings is Jalen Milroe in the odds. He is plus 900, and so a 9-1 odds to win the Heisman Trophy. It's intriguing, It's intriguing because, like we just said, Isaiah Bond, his kind of top target that would have been back because of Jermaine Burton, moving on to the NFL. I think Isaiah Bond and Jalen Milroe would have had a great rapport with one another. The biggest question I think here is the change in the system from Tommy Rees to what Ryan Grubb wants to do under Kalen DeBoer. Michael Penix was not a runner. Okay. He was not a runner. He was a pocket guy, win from the pocket, throw the ball down the field. Now, one, big thing for Jalen Milroe is that he does a great job and is very accurate throwing the ball down the field. It's more the intermediate stuff. So that part does fit well with Ryan Grubb's system in terms of the down the field shots and things of that nature. But really, what we're going to have to wait and see is after the portal window, the spring portal window comes for Alabama, because we don't know. We know that Alabama is going to have to go and retool some things on their offense after they've lost some of these guys to the transfer portal and to the NFL draft, and haven't really had a full complement of time and a full opportunity, with the portal window only being open for their players and not for other players. So we'll see what happens after the spring window. But obviously, we know that Jalen Milroe is an elite athlete. Just took over that Georgia game, and he looked like he was on the verge of doing that in the Michigan game at times, but had some of that low snap issue with Seth McLaughlin. So we'll see who Alabama's new center is. That's a big deal to have, not have to worry about snaps and things like that. Now, who knows if it was a cadence issue or if it was just the snaps, things like that. It seemed like Seth McLaughlin struggled. He's off at Ohio State now. So we'll see what Ryan Grubb and Kellen DeBoer can do with a quarterback who a lot of times in Jalen Milroe is just simply the best athlete on the field. So we'll see how his running style, how his athleticism is integrated into this new offense at Alabama. We'll see what players end up coming in to Alabama after this spring portal window. But just because simply, hey, you've got players like Tyler Booker coming back in front of you on the line, guys who are leaders, guys who are able to stick it out and be there, potential of superstar guys like Ryan Williams, who they're recruiting, that could come in and have an impact right away. Of course, you're able to go out and get transfers in the spring portal window. So, like I said, we'll wait and see. But right now, Jalen Milroe plus 900 in the Heisman Trophy odds early on here on Bet Online. Nico Molina comes in at number 5 overall, but number 4 in the SEC. Number 5 overall, he is behind Dillon Gabriel, who went to Oregon. But Nico Molina showed us in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with for Tennessee. When it comes down to it, you see a quarterback who looked poised, a quarterback who has great arm strength, and the biggest thing about that is he doesn't just have great arm strength, right? Joe Milton had great arm strength, but he didn't have the changeup. He wasn't able to layer throws when he needs to, wasn't able to anticipate some throws, and his ball placement was off at times. I think Nico showed that against a good Iowa defense that he's going to be able to do those things. And he also showed off his athleticism with 3 rushing touchdowns. Doesn't, I don't think he's kind of slender. I don't think they want him running all the time just for, to not take as many hits as he possibly could when doing that. But he's a guy that most certainly, when the chips are down and you need yardage, he can go out and get it with his legs. So Nico Molina is a guy who, with Brew McCoy coming back, with Squirrel White, with Ramel Keaton, with Mike Matthews, who's coming in as a freshman, with Holden Stays, who's coming in as a tight end. I mean, he's going to have some weapons there that he's going to be able to do things with. In Tennessee, after landing, Lance Hurd, who's going to play left tackle, they're going to move John Campbell over to right tackle. They've got Cooper Mays coming back. Spragan's coming back. I mean, they've got all kinds of talent and experience coming back up front in front of him. So that should help out a ton. And I think you're going to see a Tennessee team that's going to be very productive on the offensive side of the ball for Josh Heupel. He is plus 1,400 right now. So like we said, Carson Beck plus 700, Quinn Ewers plus 800, Jalen Milroe plus 900. Then at number 4, who we didn't cover, a former SEC quarterback, Dillon Gabriel at Oregon, he is at plus 1,100. And then you have number 5 overall, number 4 in the SEC rankings, Nico Molina at plus 1,400. He's tied with Will Howard, who's the quarterback that transferred from Kansas State to Ohio State at plus 1,400. But then number 5 in the SEC rankings and number 7 overall is Jackson Dart for Lane Kiffin. Jackson Dart, guys, is going to have just a plethora of experience surrounding him, with Trey Harris coming back, with Caden Prescorn coming back at tight end. Guys, they're loaded. Ulysses Bentley coming back at the running back position with him. I think it's going to be a tremendous year for Ole Miss and what they're able to do in terms of retaining guys around Jackson Dart. Now, Ole Miss goes out and gets transfers extremely easily as well. It seems in the collective, they focused a lot on defense this past offseason, bringing in some defensive players, but Ole Miss is going to have weapons galore, and Jackson Dart is another guy who mobility at the quarterback position is crucial. And I do think with Quinshon Judkins moving on to Ohio State, moving on to join Will Howard, who we mentioned a while ago over there at Ohio State, there will be times where they ask Jackson Dart to do some things with his legs. Now, they did go out and they did, supplement that loss of Quinshon Judkins to Ohio State with bringing in Logan Diggs from LSU, formerly of Notre Dame, who was good at times for LSU, but elected to get in the transfer portal again. Jaquan Scott, an offensive lineman, comes over from Southern Miss that, had an impact there for the Golden Eagles and will do so as well at Ole Miss. A big body. 6'4", 6'5", 330 pounds, a guy who can move. So a talented guy at the guard position that'll be able to help out in front of him. They got some weapons over there that they've brought in, wide receiver as well. We mentioned the experience of Trey Harris and Caden Prescorn in the system, but Deion Smith, formerly of LSU, is a freshman, then went to the community college route. Now he's back in the FBS and in the SEC. Deion Smith, who will be a talented weapon at the receiver position as well. And then Juice Wells comes over from South Carolina, guys. The juice is loose in Oxford. It's not just Juice the dog for Lane Kiffin now. He has Juice Wells, who will be a very productive player, was a very productive player when he was not injured at South Carolina. If he stays healthy, that could be a big deal for Ole Miss. And that is, guys, I'm quite honestly surprised that Jackson Dart isn't higher. I would put Jackson Dart on this list at number 3 behind Quinn Ewers. I would probably trade him and Jalen Milroe right now on this list, because I think not only do you look at a guy who has gotten better and better and has done it for a longer period of time, but he's going to have more weapons around him than he's ever had. And I think Ole Miss is poised to do some work. Also worth mentioning, I don't have a picture of him here, but Jackson Arnold, the new quarterback at Oklahoma, comes in right behind Jackson Dart, a talented guy out of Denton, Texas, that I think everybody is excited to see what he's going to be able to do with Dillon Gabriel moving on from that Oklahoma program, what he'll be able to do in his first year there as a starter for Brent Venables and company. Guys, as always, leave your comments. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Remember that we're presented by BetOnline, and you can get your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit right there in the description. Like I said, you got Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Nico Iamaleava, and Jackson Dart, all there in the top 7 of the 2024 BetOnline Heisman Trophy futures, and in that order. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and we will catch you guys next time to talk more SEC football right here on Southeastern 14.